Welcome to Go Play Esports Podcast with Christopher Turner, Go Play founder and CEO, esports coach at the Southern University Lab, and gamer. Discussions on the emergence of esports at the K-12, collegiate, and professional level. Let's go play.
This is your host, Christopher Turner of Go Play Esports. This is Season 2, Episode 3. As always, we have a special guest. If you can pay attention to the graphic up top, it's Jason Kirby of Generation Esports. He's the Chief Operating Officer, and I'm just happy to have him. Gotten to know him over the last year and a half, and great guy, real aggressive in the marketplace. A champion for esports across the board. I'm talking about the whole pipeline, like myself, all the way from middle school up to college, up to professional. And if you think about the tier of the show and the trajectory of where we're going here at Go Play Esports, that we cover the whole pipeline, it was adamant that, at some point I had to have Jason on. I think it was just the right timing. But we're going to kind of get into detail with Jason in just a minute. But just happy to have you guys. If you guys don't know, we're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can go follow us at Go Play. That's GEAUX Play Esports. And for my traditional podcast listeners, we're still on Apple, we're still on Google, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you can get your podcast. But it's going to be in delay in uploading. So just give me 1 or 2 days, and we're going to get this thing up. I can't go any further without giving my sponsor a shout-out, Verdict Gear. Verdict Gear, for me, is the best gaming chair in the world. People, I sit in it every day. I'm a big guy. If you don't know by now, I am. And it's comfortable for me, man. I love it. And we're going to keep Verdict Gear pushing. Go to verticgear.com. and look up those gaming chairs, man. Make sure you purchase one. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. Verdict Gear, man, we're going to show them some love one more time, and then we're going to get right to Jason. All right, man. That was a Verdict Gear commercial, man. Like I said, go to verticgear.com. Jason, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Can we all just acknowledge how awesome your intro is? That was amazing.
I'm trying to take it to the next level, Jason. I'm trying to keep it moving, keep it innovative, man. And thank you for the compliment, man. And so I kind of went into a brief spiel about who you are, man. And I really – I want to take these first couple of minutes. Like, I think you have an interest. Can we kind of start with like your background? Like, not, before you got into this space, I think you were involved in some more spaces and some dealings with Walmart and stuff like that. Can we kind of brush up on that?
Yeah. So kind of the quick background. Always an entrepreneur, always trying to find ways to solve problems for certain audiences. Started off real young, getting some really strong marketing experience when I was in my my early 20s. At an amazing marketing firm out of San Diego. Took that experience, grew my own company, became the largest photography school in San Diego, one of the largest event photography and creative services companies in San Diego. But was always an entrepreneur, not so much a photographer. Decided to sell those businesses, move out to the Big Apple in New York. Joined as the first employee of a company called Liquid Sky. Was a cloud gaming software where we made it possible to play the top PC games, FPSs, with ultra low latency from a phone or a Chromebook or low end device by playing from the browser or playing from like a PC client or playing from their Android app. And was responsible for growing that team from 2 people, 3 people to about 35 people, raised about $12 million, had about 1.8 million customers across the world in 130 countries, and then ended up selling that to Walmart back in 2018. And wanted to kind of make an impact in education. I've always been very passionate about education. I feel exposing kids to opportunities into a world that they might not be aware of helps shape their past, that they do have options, that gives them a sense of potential. And I just happen to be experienced in gaming due to my tech background at Liquid Sky. Did some deals with esports back then, and stumbled across the amazing guys over at was just HSEL, High School Esports League. Knew one of the co-founders. They brought me in, and I was just convinced immediately that the world needs this, and helped kind of get where we are now, to where we've expanded beyond just high school. We're now in middle schools. We're serving the college market. We're serving non-scholastic markets. We're serving communities. And it's been a wild last year and a half or so, since I've decided to join the team, and it's been quite amazing.
It has been, man. I've had I don't want to say a front seat, but a close seat to y'all, the innovation of Generation Esports, and kind of going back into your background. Like, from what I'm hearing, it was mostly tech driven things that you were attracted to. I heard the photography, the creative side. Like, what was the pull for you to esports? Like, what drew you? Were you a gamer at first, or were you just looking from afar and it kind of caught your eye? What was it?
So what ultimately drew me to Liquid Sky to be in the gaming industry to start, because we built tech, but it was specifically exclusively for gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And what drew me there was, growing up, I love playing video games. I totally understand why Twitch is huge, because I watched my brother and my friends play more than I played myself. I was always enthralled by that. But my problem was, when my friends started moving to PC games, I didn't have the horsepower. I was always left in the dust. I was always a generation behind on the games. And my friends would always be, off playing the next big game. And, my parents would never upgrade our equipment. I never had, didn't have the fast enough internet to play online. And, I just always kind of felt like I missed a step. And, kind of was kicked out of gaming for that reason, and kind of pursued traditional sports. And then when I heard about Liquid Sky and kind of how it was going to solve that problem that 10-year-old to 15-year-old me had, where I couldn't play games with my friends because I just didn't have the means to, and I just could watch. And we're kids, so they're not going to share their PC or anything. So. And so I had this unique opportunity to solve this problem for millions of people across the world by developing a cloud gaming technology to enable access to games, so that kids could play these games, or adults, without having to invest into like a $1,500 or $1,000 PC, or to have the latest console or anything like that. They could do it from their current and existing devices to play their favorite games. And it was a really unique and very, very difficult problem to solve. But it was an amazing opportunity. And I got to meet some really cool publishers. I was doing a lot of deals with the publishers to be able to make sure we could run their games in the cloud, which obviously, treading new ground there. There's people that have done it in the past in cloud gaming that have failed and burned. So we were overcoming a lot of obstacles in those discussions. So I was really excited about that opportunity. And it was quite successful, to impact the amount of people we have. I still have conversations randomly with either teachers or partners where I tell them what I did, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I used that." I'm like, it's kind of crazy to think about. But why esports is, one thing that Liquid Sky exposed me to was cheating. Cheating is a thing in esports, and just gaming as a whole. Maybe not as much in esports, but just cheating is a thing. Our technology basically eliminated cheating. And so we were talking to a lot of big players in the space, because there's no way to access the hardware or to access the main image or the operating system. So there's no way to install anything. They basically just got a standard issued copy of the game that they couldn't alter. And so we saw that. So I got a lot of exposure to esports, some of the big players, how it was working, and it was just massive, massive growth potential that I could not ignore. And I was really intrigued by esports. I was looking to kind of stay within gaming because I've developed such industry knowledge in it. And I think it's our future. I think shows or the movies like Ready Player One are very much a reality. Hopefully, less of the dystopian aspect, but the VR worlds, those very immersive experiences are inevitable. And I think it creates a lot of opportunities for people to build communities, a sense of belonging, a sense of identity, as well as career opportunities and whatnot. So that's the long way of how I got into the esports space. And I just think it's a space that the world needs, and I want to be able to have an impact there.
I definitely had the same sentiment as far as wanting to be there and knowing that it's the next thing. And you mentioned the growth. Due to COVID-19, we saw a substantial amount of growth in the space, and I wanted to kind of ask you and see how you felt about as far as the growth of esports and gaming in general. Where you see it going. You mentioned the VR, but I want to kind of get your thought on like the substantial amount of growth that we saw in the last couple of months due to everybody being at home and how you felt about it.
Well, I think if we speak to COVID specifically, all it really did was accelerate the inevitable. We're still not anywhere near, the true potential of what esports is. Like when we look at, HSEL, High School Esports League, one of the leagues we operate, we're not even at like 5-10% penetration of the entire market. Esports as a whole. There's still so much growth potential and awareness to develop. We're still in the early stages, even though esports has been around for the last like 10 plus years from like more of an official standpoint. But if you see like, the bar chart, you got like this, or in 2020, it's like this little bar, and we saw this nice big jump because of COVID in terms of awareness, impressions. It was an alternative to, traditional sports and as far as a sense of entertainment. And so we saw a lot of buzz, a lot of media talking about it, acknowledging esports is real. We have a lot of states that are now saying like, okay, this is now a thing we have to pursue. Because it's really the only thing they could do during these times. And so it forced them to have the conversation. Boards, superintendents, state officials, all realizing like there needs to be a conversation here. And it's something that is, I think, important to present an opportunity. And I'm going to specifically speak to Scholastic mainly because that's where my core competency is. That's where I'm at right now. But what's unique is like, esports has just been growing out of kind of more of just a natural progression of people loving games and then affiliating, those games to now we have these pro teams like the Call of Duty leagues, the Overwatch leagues, and more leagues, popping out. But those fan bases, while they're strong, they're not necessarily as strong as they could be because there's not really a sense of structural, or infrastructure educating, kids and adults how these games actually work. If you're to, let's just say throw my dad into watching Twitch, an Overwatch match on Twitch, his head would explode.
Lost it.
Yeah. His head would explode. Yeah. What is this? And, so that's why when we have kids that are growing up with these sports now, like their friends are playing it, they're playing it, they're now going to be able to watch these things like second nature, just like how I could watch, football after playing 8 years of football. I know exactly what's going on. I know what plays are being called. I know all these different things. I know how it all works because I played 8 years of it. Now you have these kids playing 8 years of Overwatch, 8 years of Valorant, 8 years of NBA, all these different games. They're going to know the player, the different characters. They're going to know the different moves. They're going to know the maps. They're going to know that was an important play. And we're going to build this sense of identity and a sense of affiliation to the sports and the games themselves and the potentially the teams. And I know that's what Overwatch and all the Overwatch leagues and all the professional teams are out there are hoping for is this kind of mass not exodus but introduction of education to the next wave of consumers of this content. And consumers of the brands, consumers of the apparel and clothes, identity, of all that kind of stuff will start to just take over. There'll just be this massive wave of people that are right now from like 10 to 16, 10 to 20, in the next 5-10 years, they're all going to have full-time incomes, they're all going to have disposable incomes, and they're going to be watching esports because that's what they grew up with. And I just think that you're going to start to see not so much traditional sports market share depleting, but just a bigger pie growing, because the people that didn't really affiliate with sports are now affiliating with esports. So you got this kind of new market that wasn't really involved with traditional sports that's growing up with esports. So you're just getting this much, much larger pie of entertainment, growing. And like, I think we're not even at the tip, like we're at like the little like pencil tip of the iceberg right now in terms of what we have.
And I definitely agree with that. Like my little elevator pitch is that I'm 36. I was born in '84, and so I was like, in my lifetime, I didn't get a chance to see the NFL or the NHL or even the NBA, at its beginning stages. And so you have a chance to be a part of it, man, and be a part of the culture. And like you said, it's even a bigger embedded thread of the culture because you're reaching all of these people. It's not just a sports lane, man. And I totally agree with it. And so I wanted to kind of move on, man, and get into Generation Esports. And you hit on it earlier. Could you tell the people exactly what Generation Esports is and the different pipelines and stages that you guys have built? And it's an incredible ecosystems of esports services that I would say. So let's kind of dive into Generation Esports for a moment.
Yep. So Generation Esports was founded out of the High School Esports League. So High School Esports League has been around for about 8 years, since 2012. And when developing out HSEL, we realized there was a need for technology because to run thousands and thousands of students in a single tournament, it gets really complicated with the existing tools out there. And so we had to develop our own technology, which we grew into Generation Esports because we realized this doesn't need to be just for high school. So that Generation Esports kind of launched as a brand in April this year, kind of right when COVID was kicking off. It was already in the pipe. It wasn't due to COVID, but definitely COVID accelerated our success with this brand. And essentially what Generation Esports is, it's a platform that brings communities together to run and operate large-scale esports tournaments at a more of a continuous mindset, not a one-off tournament with your buddies or a one-off sponsored tournament, but actual foundational leagues that will last the test of time. So when we look at creating this pipeline, because I was talking about earlier, we have this opportunity to kind of grow and evolve esports players into esports consumers, just as like pros, only 99% don't become pros. It's like the top 1% that become the actual pro players. So these other 99% that become the consumers, the viewers, the ones that are engaged. So we launched Middle School Esports League, which is owned and operated by us to kind of be a feeder into the High School Esports League, but primarily to kind of promote diversity, equity, and inclusion a little bit more, because we realize that the younger we get kids involved, the more likely we're to start to see gender diversity, because it's not until they get a little older that they start to kind of fall into gender norms. And esports is definitely dominated by males, and there's so much value in having a more diverse gender diversity and racial diversity in esports that isn't always represented at the professional level yet. And so we felt getting kids younger at middle school would help open up that pipeline, help start the conversation of creating that structured gaming experience, not so much the kids are playing games anyways, so we might as well put them in a structured environment where they're being taught how to play with adult supervision in a safe space with peers, in an environment where they're playing with peers, not so much a 12-year-old playing with a 40-year-old man, kind of thing. So trying to create that safe space for kids to play games and to compete and make it more structured. And so we launched Middle School Esports League this fall. We have the High School Esports League that's been running and operating for years. Got about 3,300 schools nationwide. We have about 100,000 plus players that have signed up to be a part of that. And then we have, we're powering and operating the National Junior Collegiate Athletic Association Esports, NJCAAE. It's a mouthful, but it's a junior college esports league essentially. And so we partnered with a media rights group called CSMG, which manages the NJCAAE, ECAC, which is kind of being considered the NCAA for esports at this point. They have about 25 other conferences they work with, and countless schools that they represent, that we are looking to create this entire pipeline, this scholastic pipeline, for these kids to not only have an opportunity to compete, have this opportunity for extracurricular activities, which extracurriculars lead to better engagement, better grades, better attendance for students. But then when they get to college, allowing these colleges to see their history as an esports player, to see if they want to potentially offer scholarships or recruiting for these. A lot of colleges, really good colleges, are investing into esports because they see it as an amazing recruitment tool to attract students to their programs, and they're offering very lucrative and scholarships for these kids to come and join based on their esports programs. Some schools are investing tens of thousands, some are investing hundreds of thousands, some in the case millions, into these esports facilities and equipment and whatnot, scholarships. And we felt that there needed to be one platform to kind of manage that entire ecosystem. And to date, we're the only ones that really create that experience. And we're working with these colleges to create like a recruitment experience so they have access to these students that opt in for recruiting opportunities.
And I guess, I'm probably the only one in the country that can speak on this, but I've been able to use the platform, not on the collegiate level yet, but I've been able to use the platform for middle, high school, and it's seamless. It's seamless. It's well organized and user friendly. I know I might be sounding like a commercial right now, but
it's okay. Keep talking.
But it's something that I'm able to look at my rosters. I'm able to look at the progression of my players, the wins, the losses, and able to structure my team from a management standpoint. And this is Coach Turner talking right now. It's great for me. I'll continue to use it and continue to grow with it. And so, it's just a major achievement from a year ago, man. Like, I really, want to say hats off to you guys. And I see the steady growth and the steady movement. And so you made a big announcement. I'm gonna go ahead and play this video right quick. School Esports League made a big announcement last week. And so let's try to get to it right quick.
I want to build an esports lab at your high school, so keep listening. Our Build an Esports Lab campaign, presented by the Army National Guard, is building 25 esports labs at high schools all across the country, because esports in high school just makes sense. Esports turns video games into a STEM experience, and the equipment that powers esports can double as a lab for coding, 3D design, animation, and video editing, because they can power the software your typical computer can't. And Asus and Intel are hooking you up with the equipment. And no, we're not just going to send you 6 of these and call it good. We're going to teach you how to turn all of this into this by sending a professional to your school to lead them in a Build a PC STEM experience. And when we're done, you get to keep all of the equipment so you can have a full esports lab at no cost to you. This experience is open to all high schools in the United States. So how do you actually put your application in? Well, first step is get excited. And I mean really excited. And then head to hsel.org/esportslab. So once you're there, you're going to fill out a request for an application. It's important to note you must be an official school representative to be selected for this and receive the official application via email. You're also going to want to check the little box so you can get notifications from our sponsors, because they're the ones making this happen. Final step is fill out the official application sent to you. You're going to want to spend some time on this. You're going to have to prove that you have space for the equipment, that you have the need for it, and why your school wants this and loves esports. It's going to be pretty competitive, so the more time you spend on this, the more pictures and evidence you provide that your school is going to take this really serious, the better. There's no limitation to what high school can apply for this. The more effort you put into this and the more need you have, the more likely you're going to get selected. And as a side note, if you're watching this and you aren't an official school representative, it's your job to tell someone about it and to get them excited about it. You can work with your teachers or sponsor of an esports club to fill out this application, work together on it, send pictures of your team, and just show how excited you guys are, because it's up to all of you to make this possible for your school. And we look forward to announcing the winners.
So that video is like over 1,000 views on YouTube, where they just dropped last week. First of all, I don't know where this form was a year ago from a personal standpoint. But I'm very excited about this. It's giving the schools an opportunity to have esports labs at their schools. And I mean, like I said, man, a year ago this wasn't possible, but you've teamed up with some great sponsors and partners, and man, I just want to give you the floor to kind of roll this out and talk about this, man. This is huge for K-12 esports.
It was such an amazing opportunity, and we're so fortunate to have the Army National Guard, ASUS, Intel, and Extreme Networks contributing to this to make it a reality. Because one of the biggest barriers for schools to start an esports program is equipment. They need something to play on, and while we do allow schools, especially during COVID, to allow their students to play from home, it takes away from the experience. Like there's something to be said about kids being in the classroom with adult supervision, with their teachers, with their peers, competing together as one, that creates a stronger, longer lasting bond for these kids to really develop into someone, or develop career skills, or college readiness skills. And we were able to kind of pitch this to our partners as something that we can make happen, and we got to get to choose 25 schools. And what's amazing is any school in the country can apply, any high school, private, public, charter. They get to share their story in the application, and we get basically go through those, and we're going to try to pick out the schools that we feel can have the biggest impact from these labs. And we're not just like, hey, here's a bunch of equipment. We're going to try to create a memorable experience that could hopefully benefit these kids that are involved, but we're going to actually have a pro there, like someone that actually knows how these equipment works, all the different components. We're going to teach them how to build their PCs, which personally, having built 3 PCs myself, slightly a bit of a headache, especially just watching YouTube videos, trying to do it all. But like, it's an amazing experience. You appreciate the machine a lot more. These kids will respect the machines a lot more, and they'll understand what actually is going on in the hardware, understand the impact hardware has in running their favorite software, whether it be their games, the launchers, Chrome, running all their game, they're doing their math homework or whatever. So I think there's something that is unique about how we're doing it that brought our partners and to get involved, as opposed to like, hey, we just ship a bunch of equipment to schools. Like, yeah, sure, everyone would like that, but how can we make this like a lasting impact on the kids, where they're going to respect the labs, and they're going to like treat them with the most respect, and the school's going to remember the impact that our partners and us had while we're there. There's absolutely no cost to the school in any way, shape, or form. We fly out all the resources, ship it all there. We run the event, for them, and just make sure that the school's going to provide us a space and a platform to do it. Is all that we really ask of the schools participating, and make sure that all the approvals are accounted for. But it's going to be exciting, and I can't speak to anything yet, but it sparked a lot of interest. We have other partners that, in addition to the current ones, that are thinking about doing these on a bigger scale in the coming years, so that hopefully this is not a one and done campaign, but that will hopefully be able to fuel a lot of programs, specifically underprivileged schools that would never be able to have access to the equipment to get them this opportunity. Because we know that with esports, we're penetrating about 3 to 4% of the student body with our clubs. For any school that has a program for over a year, we're starting to see that 3% of their student body is participating in esports. Maybe not competing, but they're a part of the team, whether it be doing the social media, the planning, coaching, practicing, and it's just creating like this sense of this community at these schools that would never exist otherwise. And you're mixing and matching cliques. You're kind of breaking the jock stuff with the gamers. You're breaking like you're just bringing this eclectic group of kids. You're breaking gender walls. You're breaking diversity walls. Everyone's just coming together because everyone loves games. Everyone's playing games, and there's no physical limitation. Kids with certain disabilities have the opportunity to participate where they would have no other extracurricular activity to partake in. And it's just something that's really unique. And I wish, people would really realize, especially, school decision makers that maybe aren't as attuned to what's going on in today's market, would listen to that and realize that this is not about video games. This is about creating opportunities for kids to be in the classroom with adult supervision, learning and working together as a team towards a common goal. And that's what this is really about. And that's a lot of what traditional sports are about. But this video games is just a piece. It's really about bringing the kids together. That's what we're really focused on.
That's awesome, man. And I'd like to applaud you and the team for keeping the core values there, man, through the growth and through the progress and the heartaches and the hiccups and everything else, man, that I know that goes on with any industry that you get involved in, man. Y'all kept the core legit, man. And I thank you for coming on, Jason. And before you go, man, you had to plug away, let people know how they can get, how schools can get in contact, how to get in contact with you for certain things. And, floor is yours, man.
Yeah, you can find us at HSEL.org for the High School Esports League. If you want to apply for the lab, it's up there on the top navigation, but you can also find it at hsel.org/esports-lab. You can reach out to me if you have questions specific to me, jason@generationesports.com. If you're interested in middle school, it's MSEL.gg. We like our short acronym URLs to make it life easier. And then obviously if you're interested in like setting up communities or more on the collegiate side, you can find us at generationesports.com, reach out to us that way. But yeah, happy to have any conversation with anyone that's trying to make an impact in these schools or the esports ecosystem.
All right. Like I said again, man, thanks for coming on. And, this is not the last time we're going to talk. So, but yeah, man, but great things over at Generation Esports, people. Like you said, man, get in contact with Jason on the team if you want to get involved with the pipeline, man, middle school through collegiate esports. Thanks for coming on, Jason.
Thanks for running a great show, man. This was awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, once again, that was Jason Kirby of Generation Esports Chief Operating Officer. Thanks again, Jason. Hey, you know what time of the day it is. We're about to wrap it up, but we're gonna play a little video from T5C Gaming. T5C Gaming is the official gaming protective wear. I rep it all day, every day. You get a cool little case like this, man. T5C is the brand that I wear to protect my eyes. Great product. Go over to T5CGaming.com. Use GoPlayES as your discount code. Let's play a quick commercial. Yeah, that's T5C Gaming, TIFOSI, gaming.com. Go Play ES is the discount code, man. Go get you some swagged out glasses, man. You can change the colors, do all kind of cool things, different frames. And it's something for everybody over there, man. But once again, this is season 2, episode 3 with Jason Kirby. I'm your host, Christopher Turner. And you know what we say over here, go play esports. See you next week.